Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the Juicebox Heroes podcast on a Sunday, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are having a great weekend and enjoying the weather that we have today. I'm your host, PK. Sweet Bee Bones Browse is with me tonight, and the Dubon Fan Club president and Chris Moreno. He's sitting this one out, so we'll haul back at him, on the next episode. But Browse, how was your weekend? How's it been since the last time we spoke?
Good, man. It was a whole lot of fun to get to go check out Constellation Field, go see all the lights for the holiday light spectacular that they've got there. Once again, Garrett Green, thank you very much for giving us the media invite to go out there and get the preview of it. So if you guys saw any of the stuff that we posted online, it's definitely worth it. If you've got the opportunity to go out there, I think they said 3.5 million plus lights that they've got set up. There's a light maze, there's putt-putt, there's ice skating, there's all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, if you get the opportunity, go grab some tickets, go check that out with your family. It's a good family fun time. But yeah, other than that, it's been a great weekend. Just we're starting to get ready for the holidays, and other than a few minor calamities where I was trying to injure myself this weekend, everything else went just fine. So how'd your weekend go?
Not bad. Watched Texas, handle business yesterday against Arkansas.
Yes,
It was nice to get that old SWC rivalry back. You know what I'm saying? So, put it on them. But it's been a good weekend. Got a little bit of a sickness going around the house. My youngest one is she's sick right now. So hopefully it doesn't spread as we get closer to Thanksgiving, man. But all in all, it's been a great weekend. Today's weather was fantastic. We opened the windows to the house and it kind of aired the house out. So all in all, it was good, man. Now, but yeah, again, big shout out to Garrett again. Like you said, man, thank you for inviting us on Thursday. It was a lot of fun, a lot of family fun. Definitely, y'all need to go back out there and check it out. It is pretty cool for the family. Yeah, make sure you go check it out and support our local AAA affiliate there in Sugarland. But so this episode, man, we're going to get into. We got a handful of things we want to talk about. I want to kind of go over the most recent Astros transactions that have gone down. We're going to predict the top 10 free agent landing spots. And then also there's, Browse, we talked about it right before we went on. There is a little bit of a rumor about interest in Brendan Donovan, right? Was from St. Louis, super utility guy. We pulled up the stats right before we came on. He hit 287 last season. 50 RBIs, his on base percentage was 353, slug 422, and his OPS was 775. So the thing that concerns me the most about it is the fact that Paredes is what I've been seeing linked as a possibility in this move. Now, I know we have a new hitting coach in Victor Rodriguez, I think is his name, right? I am hoping that the approach from our team this year is a lot more patient. But if we're looking at the team right now from the previous season, we had a bunch of swing and miss guys, free swingers, not a lot of plate discipline, except for Paredes, who at any at bat that you go to is going to see 6 to 8 pitches. Like he just works the count, he just sits there and waits for his pitch, right? Where you have Altuve who's free swinging. Pena got better, was better last season at his discipline, but he's still a little bit free swinger. So, like, I don't like the Paredes possibility move of him being involved in it. I understand that Brendan Donovan's like this super utility guy. We traded Dubon that you guys covered on Thursday for Nick Allen, who is essentially the same player. He's cheaper. He's just cheaper. I'm sure you guys covered it on Thursday. The move for Dubon was solely about money, right? Dubon was going to end up getting $6.5 million, I think is what he ended up getting. I think, right?
He did.
Nick Allen's getting like nothing compared to that, 6 times less, I think, right? And so there was purely from a money standpoint, and at the same time, Dubon's value was the highest value it was going to be coming off of a second Gold Glove. So make the move. Save some money. I think the Astros are looking to be around $28 million. I think under the the luxury tax or the whatever the competitive threshold, whatever they call it, right? So it's purely money, right? So let's get into this thing, bros. Let's go over these recent transactions that the Astros have had, starting from Thursday with the Dubon move that you guys covered. So from Thursday to now.
Yeah, and I know you already touched on Dubon, and then like I said, we had kind of our breaking podcast special on that. But anyway, as far as Dubon leaving is concerned, I was kind of expecting there was going to be a counter move pretty quickly after that. Once again, I'm sure Dana Brown's playing chess on this one, so he's stockpiling that available money now for something coming up. We're all hoping, right? You are correct, though. Nick Allen is definitely the cheaper version of Dubon. He predominantly plays middle infield, but he can play some third as well. He's got a really good glove where he played short for Atlanta this last season. He was even nominated for the Gold Glove in the National League. So we know he's got the defense. He's a little bit more of a light hitting utility guy than that. So I think that's kind of where we're looking at as far as, the possibility of Brendan Donovan coming in. And before I get into that, let's still go over some of these transactions. Then we'll talk about Brendan Donovan and the rumors there a little bit more. One of the things that I was really surprised at is almost immediately after Dubon was traded, we DFA'd Ramon Urias. And then as soon as he got DFA'd, instead of accepting, any kind of assignment to the minor leagues, he elected free agency. And I don't blame him. But at the same time, we were talking about having two utility guys and how much of a luxury that was, to where we could have possibly traded one of them, kept the other one, and then, maybe turned that trade into a pitcher, a bullpen piece, something like that. But instead, now we have no utility guys technically, other than Nick Allen, who's, like I said, predominantly a shortstop. And we didn't, get anything to bolster our pitching staff at all. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward as far as what moves they're going to end up making. Speaking of pitching, though, one of the things that the Astros did do was select the contract of Miguel Uola and put him on the 40-man roster from the Sugarland Space Cowboys. So I'm going to see that very interesting. You guys are going to want to follow that when we get up to spring training and see how he performs, to see if he can possibly make this big league club, because he really, really shined in the minors this last season. And, he's going to have a really good shot at possibly cracking the roster, from the get-go, depending on how he does in spring. So we'll see on that one. Other than that, we touched on some of the other stuff, but at the end of the season, right after the World Series was over. So that's been the newer ones. We did sign a free agent, a right-handed pitcher from the Athletics. His name was Anthony Maldonado. He's got a higher ERA, tall kid. He was drafted in 2019 in the 11th round out of Miami, but he's been kind of a journeyman as far as everything's concerned. He's going to go straight, probably, I would say, to the Space Cowboys. He's, what did we say, 26, 27?
26, 27, yeah.
Yeah, so he's getting up there as far as what his prime would be and what we would expect to see. These are the years that you expect the best out of a pitcher, with anywhere from 25 to 30. So
yeah, great.
Anyway, he may or may not make it. We don't know, but as we found out last year, you're going to need depth all the way around the diamond, and especially coming off of your rotation. So I would say any of these pieces that our front office thinks that we can do something with, even if it's sending him down to AAA, letting our AAA staff work with him, possibly get him back on track. Hey, because we might need him sometime throughout the Major League season in 2026. You have no idea what's going to happen. Hopefully, we don't see all the injuries that we had from last season, but you never know. So,
yeah, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I was trying to find the the contract for the next guys that we're going to discuss. But but look, I'm going to read a press release from the Astros. This was a couple of days ago. So these players have tendered the contracts to 11 of our arbitration eligible players, and they include Brian Abreu, Nick Allen, Hunter Brown, Yainer Diaz, Jake Myers, Stephen Okert, Isak, Pena, Jesus Sanchez, Bennett Sousa, and Wisniewski. Right, Wisniewski, we all know, man. Like, he made a few starts. I think his last start was against Milwaukee. I think he pitched like an inning or two, and ended up having one of the many elbow injuries that we had right throughout the season. So those were the 11 players that they offered the tender to. Then they also signed De Santos to a 1-year deal, right? I want to say it's like 1.6 million. Don't quote me on that one. And then I also know they signed Taylor Trammell for 1 year, about 900,000, right? And I think he has some bonuses for being on the opening day roster and stuff like that, right? So the Taylor Trammell thing, I think if you were to look at our outfield at the moment, you're short outfielders, right? You don't know, like, we don't really know if Cam's going to start the season on the the big squad, or if they're going to keep him down. I mean, we talked about that a few episodes where, Dana Brown, talked about having him be more consistent at the plate, especially, right? We know that he's got the range in the outfield to handle what he needs to, especially after not playing there. So the at bats need to be more consistent. You have Myers, at least for the moment, right? We talked about that on several episodes about the possibility of you can move Myers because of his value, right? He has a high value right now, kind of like a Dubon. And then you have Jordan coming back off of injury-plagued season, right? And we all talk about it too, where you don't want him playing every day out in left field, right? You had the Jose Altuve. Is he going to play left field most of the time, or is he going to play second base most of the time? Zach Cole, Jacob Melton, right? You don't have a lot of answers. So Taylor Trammell is just another body. I feel like, there was a handful of times throughout last season that, he did come in clutch. I mean, you can go back to the Yankee series at Yankees, right? Or he hit like a 7th, 8th inning bomb, right, to put us on top. And that's just one of a few, right? I mean, he made a acrobatic catch out in LA, right, when we were beating the brakes off of them.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, and so like he brings the excitement and the energy. I mean, he is one of those guys, right? So yeah, I think it's just a body. It's just another body. De Los Santos, like we talked about it the whole second half of the season. Once we got him, like, it was a completely different picture for us than he was with the Braves at the beginning of the season. I mean, De Los Santos was pretty much freaking nails, right? And at the end, he got a little shaky, right? He started to get hit around a little bit, I think. But for the most part, the small sample size that we saw with De Los Santos, I think it was like, this signing is a good move. It's a cheap move, right? And you get a bullpen arm. We all know how important those bullpen arms are, right? With you can talk about it till we're blue in the face, right? All the injuries we had from the starting rotation, right, to the bullpen. You know what I'm saying? So another arm in the bullpen is going to be huge, and it's a righty because you have Okert and you have Brian King and you have Bennett Sousa, 3 lefties. You have Hader as another lefty, Abreu is a righty, and then De Los Santos is a righty. That's 6 guys, right? So, and 4 of those 6 are lefties. You know what I mean? So it's a good little change up. I mean, like I said, he did pretty damn good in a small sample size that we saw up until the very end. But I think everything just had to go right at the end of the season for us, right? I mean, that's what it boiled down to. And, it was a long injury-plagued season that really just kind of caught up to us. And we still missed it by a game, right? So those are the most recent moves that we have. It's not nothing is still, November, the winter meetings coming up right here next month. So we'll start seeing some other stuff fly around. But yeah, man. So let's get into this Brendan Donovan thing, because we talked about it right before, we came on, right? Because we're kind of just discussing, topics for tonight. Other than him being a super utility guy, I still think for me, we talked about it very briefly in this episode. Like, I still want Paredes on this team. Like, I still do. you know, I mean, we know he's not going to hold down third all the time, right? Because Correa is going to be there all the time, right? You still have the question about first base, like, is Walker going to get moved? You know, are we going to keep Walker? You know, and then that starts to become that starts to become an issue. And so if you move Paredes, well, then that kind of tells you, obviously, they're not making the move for Walker, right? Walker's going to be your first baseman, right? If you're going to move Paredes. But the Paredes thing was, you know, my biggest thing when we got him coming in was the fact that we had so much team control, right? Like that was the thing.
Exactly.
And I don't know what Brendan Donovan's, you know, contract looks like. I know I had him on my fantasy team last year, and I was not I was not impressed with what I had. I know it's fantasy baseball, doesn't mean much, but I'm just telling you, if I'm choosing, I want Paredes. I don't want Donovan. And it's the Cardinals, man. I don't want to deal with those guys.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and that is something that you and I briefly discussed offline. So here's the deal: do I want Brendan Donovan? I do. I have watched him play in St. Louis. You know, really good friend of mine in Arizona. He's a huge Cardinals fan. Anyway, we've talked about Brendan Donovan. Dude's a dirt dog. He steals bases. He dives. I mean, he's going to do everything that you want in a baseball player, and he's a utility player too. So you can put him literally anywhere except pitcher and catcher. I think he was even the Cardinals' emergency catcher for a while. So, you know, he basically takes the spot of what Dubon was in for us. But, you know, you were right. You looked up his numbers. He was a little bit down last season from a couple of previous seasons. And speaking of fantasy baseball, yeah, I didn't have him on my team last year, but the previous 2 years I did have him on my team because I could put him anywhere. I could put him in the outfield, first, second, third, you know, didn't matter. So he is very valuable, and I think he would fit in very well with the Astros. But I 100% agree with you, not at the expense of Isaac Paredes. We went and got Isaac Paredes, you know, in the Kyle Tucker trade, and we picked him for a reason. He hits bombs to the short porch. That's what we have him for, and he's a pretty damn good defender too. So you can put him. So with Paredes, you can put him pretty much anywhere in the infield. I would be a little uncomfortable with him at short, but just because of you know, his range and stuff like that. But third, second, first, or DH, I mean, he can play any of those, no problem. So, you know, on days that we've got Alvarez in left field, which I'm hoping they seriously limit those over this next season. But anyway, when he plays left, then you could put Isak in the DH spot, you know, and any of these guys that need a day off on the infield, Isak can go in and play. And you also mentioned it too. We don't know what's going on with Walker. So he might end up being our starting first baseman, whether Walker goes to the bench because we can't trade him, or, you know, whatever the case may be. We'll just see how all that plays out. Personally, I think Walker's going to have a turnaround season. I think he had a really hard time adjusting to Houston for whatever reason. I know he was a little bit on the decline. We also know that Arizona needs a first baseman. There have been rumors flying out there that they want to trade for Christian Walker back. So we'll see how that all turns out. But, I mean, the subject was Brendan Donovan. And I think your biggest hurdle there is the fact that it is the St. Louis Cardinals. And you have to remember there was that huge scandal where they broke into our front office, hacked into computers, and then started stealing some of our, you know, very important information as far as trades, prospects, all that stuff was concerned.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people have forgotten about that, but that is one huge, huge deal that, you know, has prevented us from doing business with St. Louis in the recent past. So we'll see how all that shakes out. But I think if it's at this point, if it's beneficial for both teams, then I don't see any reason why we couldn't make that trade. The only thing I will say is if we do get him, look for him to start in an outfield position to start out with, probably one of the corner outfield spots, and then he can fill in the outfield whenever needed. So that's what I see. But once again, not at the expense of Isak. We need to keep him on the team.
Yeah, look, his career batting average is 282. right? That's his career batting average. I mean, we haven't had a utility guy hit 282. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as good as Dubon's glove was, right? And you know, Chris is probably laughing if he's watching this, but like the bat doesn't make up for it, and we all know that. We watched it. Like we watched it. He's a free, you know, Dubon's a free swinger, right? Great clubhouse guy, apparently, you know, which we all could see, which was what we heard, right? You know, all of his teammates love him. You know, Wheelhouse has had him on recently, right? But the thing is like it's kind of like with the catching, like we talked about before. Like you're either if you're going to be a bad defensive catcher, you got to be superb in offense, and vice versa, right? And we don't have that, and so if this is the upgrade to the utility position, I mean, this guy can, you know, he can play, and you got to be pretty damn good. If your primary utility positions are primarily infield, I mean, you got to have a glove. You know, you got to have a glove, and he clearly does. I'm good with it. Like I said, just like you said, just not the expense of Paredes. I think Paredes is gonna. He was on pace for 30 home runs before he got hurt, minimum of 30 home runs, right? I mean, he was mashing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't like the move if Paredes is the key piece. I definitely don't like the move because it's the Cardinals. I don't care if we're not in the same league anymore. I don't like the Cardinals. Never have, never will. Right. So we'll keep our eyes on it, man. I mean, it's early. It's rumors. You know, like it's rumors. That's all it is. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. You know, coming out that just to get people to talk about like we're doing now. Right. So, but speaking of rumors, man. Speaking of rumors, let's go into these top 10 free agents that are out there. Now, this is going to be according to Bleacher Report. Okay. I'll take 10 through 6. You handle 5 through 1. Cool.
That's just because you want me to pronounce the Japanese players. Go ahead.
I didn't even think about it. No, he's 6. He's 6 on my list. I have to tell him. I got to say his name.
All right. Well,
okay.
Then.
All right. So what we'll do is I'm going to give you the name. I'll give you the name, right? You throw out the team, and then I'll go off of what we're saying. Then we'll do it whenever you're up, okay? So number 10 is Ranger Suarez, who's left-hand pitcher for the Phillies last year. Stats were 12-8, 3.20 ERA, 151 Ks, and 157 in a third innings pitched, and his WAR was 4.0. And then he will be 30 next season. I mean, dude, he was pretty damn clutch for those guys. I mean, we hit him around a little bit, when they came into town, right? But the dude can pitch. I mean, he's like their number 3 guy there because they have Nola.
Did he end up
Wheeler,
at 2 or 3? Yeah, you're
Nola,
right.
Nola, Wheeler, and Suarez, right? So they had a pretty damn good top 3. So if you're choosing, he also is Scott Boras' client. Just keep that in mind. So if you're choosing a team, what team? What say you?
So you just changed my mind after you said the 2 magic words, Scott Boras. I think he would fit in perfect with the Astros. I would love to see him in our number 2 slot, especially to come in there and help with the young staff that we've got. But being a Scott Boras client, I don't see that happening because he's going to hold out forever for the most amount of money, and then somebody's finally going to, accept what he's asking for. Honestly, I think he's going to go to the Blue Jays. Blue Jays need a lot of pitching help. We just saw him in the World Series. They're going to try to run the table again, go back to the World Series. I think he fits in their rotation really well. I can see that. I can also see him being re-signed by the Phillies as well. Scott Boras and the Phillies, they line up very well together, or they play nice in the same sandbox. So those are my 2 predictions. I think if he doesn't go to the Blue Jays, I think he's re-signing with the Phillies.
Yeah, so Bleacher Report has him as a Blue Jay, right? And that falls exactly in line with what you were saying.
Oh, he does.
Right, which is the Blue Jays were so damn close last season, right? I mean, like they're so damn close. So I think that they are going to take advantage fully of their window that they have at the moment, right? I mean, this dude, if he comes to their rotation, so they had Gossman, right? They had Gossman. They had the rookie that started the season in single A ball, right? Who was dominating. Some right-hander. I forget his last name. Anyways, But if you go out and get Ranger Suarez, I mean, you've got a top 3 in a tough AL East, right? I mean, like they held their own without it. Can you imagine having these 3 guys at the top of their rotation for 26? I mean, it's they're all in. So yeah, so the Blue Jays is a prediction for Ranger Suarez. Estimated contract would be 4 years, 110. The player opt out after 27 is what it shows. So number 9, Dylan Cease. He went 8-12, 4.55 ERA, 215 Ks in 168 innings pitched, 3.4 WAR. He'll be 30 next year. What do you got?
So obviously there's been tons and tons of rumors of Dylan Cease coming to the Astros. When we did not pull the trigger on him during the trade deadline, there's a lot of people that really want him to be an Astro. I am not one of those. I am not in that camp. I think that Dylan Cease is going to be overpriced. And I know that he's had reliability issues, 1, and then 2, he's also, we talk about streaky batters a lot. He's a streaky pitcher. He's either really good or he's really bad. And when you see the really bad, you'll know what I'm talking about. So overall, his numbers average out pretty good. Astros, I don't think he's going to us. Bleacher Report has him going to the Orioles. I don't really see a fit with the Orioles either. The Orioles aren't looking to go out there and spend a ton of money right now. They had a really down season. They're trying to get a lot of value and try to get young talent. And with what you said, Dylan Cease being 30, I don't see that fit. I see him either going to the Dodgers or, once again, I think the Blue Jays would be another good pick as well. He probably, in my opinion, stays on the West Coast, goes to the Dodgers. You've got Kershaw, who just retired, so they're looking to bolster their starting pitching rotation. We'll see what happens there. I'm hoping that we don't have a repeat of last season where the Dodgers just buy absolutely everybody and then defer their contracts out till like 2065 or something stupid like that. But my initial prediction is Dylan Cease ends up going to the Dodgers.
Yeah, so they have Baltimore. I mean, the Baltimore thing, I mean, they had an extremely down year last year with all the hype that surrounds that team, year in and year out, right? Especially here recently, all the young studs, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rushman, right? You had O'Hearn until you moved him to the Padres, Mountcastle. I mean, you've got Cedric Mullins before he got traded, right? So they had a pretty good nucleus of guys, and starting pitching was not one of them, right? Corbin Burns is out in Arizona, right? He's out in Arizona,
yep.
Right? Charlie Morton, they moved to Detroit after his disaster the first half of the season. So I can see, I guess I could see him going to Baltimore as a prove it type of deal. They have 5 years, 125. I'm just not I'm in the same boat as you. I don't want Dylan Cease. He's older. Last year, he gave up a lot of home runs. We've got a short porch out in left. We don't need another pitcher that gives up a lot of home runs, right? The other options were Mets, Angels, Cubs, and Blue Jays, just to let you know on that. So some West Coast teams. One West Coast team. All right. We'll make this kind of quick. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, free agent. Number 8.
I'm going to make this short and sweet. I don't want Cody Bellinger, even though we need outfield help. I have not liked him since he came up his very first year with the Dodgers. So Bleacher Report has him going to the Mets. I think that sounds perfect. He looks like a Met. He sounds like a Met. Yeah, go ahead and go to the New York Mets. The only other team I would say that he might go to, which is kind of an up-and-coming team, obviously, that's looking to get a little star power on their roster before they move, would be the West Sacramento Athletics. So if he's not going to the Mets, I'm calling the A's.
Yeah, so they have him to the Mets, which, again, I could give two shits about Cody Bellinger. I mean, I just do. I mean, ever since Correa put him in his place back in 2018, for telling him, like, if you don't know the facts, then you need to shut the hell up, right? And that's paraphrasing, obviously. I think the Yankees are probably the first option for him. I mean, he had a pretty damn good year with them. But the Mets, with Steve Cohen, he opens the bank. He opens up, he backs the Brinks truck up for the players that he wants. Phillies are another option. Royals and Dodgers, of course, because of his past ties to them. Only current Astro on this list, well, from last season, is Framber Valdez, number 7. 32 going into next season. 13-11, 3.66 ERA, 187 Ks, and 192 innings pitched with a 4 WAR. Quickly, what do you think?
Fromber, once again, Blue Jays need pitching. I've seen the Yankees go out and get players that they couldn't beat. And we've done that with Fromber too. Is anytime he's been up there, he's pretty much been a Yankee killer. So I see those two. Bleacher Report's got him going to the Cubs. I can see that as well. And spoiler alert here, guys, the only way he comes back to the Astros is if he seriously struggles trying to sign with another team in the offseason, and then we hit him up on like a 1-year deal with an option or maybe a 2-year deal, and that's it. But we're not signing him to a long extension.
Yeah, look, they haven't, like you said, they have him going to the Cubs. 4 years, $114 million with a $25 million option for 2030. He's going to be 32 at the start of next season. I did find it kind of odd that he was at the GM meetings earlier this month, right? I feel like that was more of possibly an image, like clearing up type of deal, right? Get in front of some of these, GMs, just kind of make some conversation. Just because of, we all saw what happened with him and Cesar Salazar. We saw the meltdowns, the calling out of the coach and the defensive alignments, during games last year. He went back to the, losing his focus in the middle of his outings, which in turn produced bad outings when we needed him. Now he went on that run of like 12 starts where he was like 10-1 or 10-0 in 12 starts. I mean, he was balling. I mean, look, the guy can ball. When his curveball's on, it's over. It's over for the other team. So the Cubs always seem to be in the mix for these high profile players, right? I mean, always. I mean, so they have him going to the Cubs. I don't see a scenario for him to come back to Houston. Like, I just don't. I don't at all. I think that ship sailed. It's time to move on from him. It would have sucked for. Chris talked about it a lot during the last season where you almost wanted to be out of the race come July so that you could move him and get something for him instead of being right there where we were, nipping at a wild card. So then you have to hold on to him because you want to make that run. So all in all, we're going to essentially lose him for nothing. But they have him going to the Cubs. So my last one, Munetaka Murakami. Munetaka Murakami. He's 26. Yeah. He's 26. Apparently he hits bombs out in Japan, right? Let's see. In 56 games last year, 22 home runs, 47 RBIs. His slash was 273, 379, 663. What do you got?
All right. So he played. I know a little bit, not too terribly much, but he because he was on the last Japanese World Baseball Classic team. So anyway. He plays first, third, and DH. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Astros do not need a first, third, and DH player. As we discussed earlier, we've got plenty of those, unless Dana Brown goes crazy and starts just trading pieces away. So anyway, he's not going to the Astros, guys. And then one of the things that PK and I discussed before we came on is a lot of these Japanese players, they want to go to big market teams, and a lot of these guys are going to stay on the West Coast because the West Coast, if they want to fly home to Japan, obviously it's a lot easier to do from California than it is from New York. So we could see what happens. I could see with Bregman leaving the Red Sox, I could see him playing third base for the Red Sox next season. But once again, that's an East Coast team. That would probably be my number one guess, is they're going to break the bank and try to go get him. Other than that, you're going to look at something on the West Coast. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but probably the Dodgers are going to be looking at him just like they do with anybody else that they can get their hands on.
Anybody else from Japan.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be Team Japan of the United States here before too long. So my number one guess is the Boston Red Sox. Number two is going to be the Dodgers.
Yeah, so they have him going to the Mets, which doesn't surprise me from a money standpoint because with these international players, especially these Japanese players, right, there is like a whole ass fee just to talk to them on top of whatever they potentially agree to in the contract. So you're talking about tens of millions of dollars in a fee that has to be paid to the Japanese team.
I believe his posting fee was $75 million.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Just to talk to the dude. Right. And then on top line of the contract. So the prediction contract's 5 years, 95, which look, it's cheap, except that you're spending $75 million to hopefully get that, right? So who knows? I kind of agree with you. He's either an Angel or a Dodger. That's typically how, or maybe I don't want to say Seattle, but definitely an Angel or a Dodger. I don't know about the Mets, other than Steve Cohen. And again, he opens up the bank account and pays whatever the hell he wants to pay to get the players he wants. So, all right, Browse, go with your 5.
All right, number 5 coming up. I just mentioned him is Alex Bregman, third baseman for the Boston Red Sox. Last season, we know he was hurt a little bit. Still hit 273, 18 bombs, 62 ribbies. His predicted contract's 5 years, $135 million at the age of 32. PK, where's he going?
So I kind of go back and forth with this one, right? Because even though he opted out of Boston, like I think he really enjoyed playing up there, right? And then if you go back, and so there's a part of me that says he'll just get a bigger contract, right, to go back to Boston. However, if you go and back and listen to a few of his interviews about him choosing Boston, right, he talked about how close Detroit was, or how much Detroit was in the front runner until the very, very last moment. So here in town, we all know about the relationship that with AJ Hinch, up there in Detroit. Detroit's on the come up. They're younger. They Scooball just won back-to-back Cy Youngs. Yep. I think I know that Bleacher Report has them going to Detroit. I probably lean towards Detroit solely from the relationship with AJ Hinch and like them wanting to win now. But I don't think Boston, re-signing with Boston's out of the question.
I think it's going to be all the same usual suspects that he had in this last offseason. I kind of feel like the Boston deal soured a little bit at the very end, especially. Well, we know that there could be some clubhouse issues in Boston, especially if they're not playing well. So I don't know if that's going to happen again. Like you said, Bleacher Report had him going to Detroit. I think that's the most likely. If he doesn't go to Detroit, I see him signing with the Chicago Cubs. So
that's valuable too, man. Chicago will spend money. They'll spend money.
Oh yeah, no, they're not afraid to do it. So that's why I think that he's a good spot, or that's a good spot for him to go to. All right, number 4, Pete Alonso, first base and DH. Last year, 272, 38 bombs, 126 ribbies, 3.6 WAR. 31 years old. He's looking for a 5-year, $145 million contract. PK, where's he going?
So, again, this is a two-team thing that I thought of. And the first team was going back to the Mets, right? And because he just looks and feels like a New York Met. Until I read something on X earlier today where their GM was talking about upgrading their defensive their defensive numbers, essentially, right? And then it showed something about Pete Alonso, and he had a down year defensively at first base. So that leads me to believe that if they're going to put an emphasis on their defensive play, right, that they don't want to overpay for a first baseman that might be declining on his defensive skills. The Red Sox thing, you had Tristan Casas. They signed Nathaniel Lowe off the trash heap, right, at the end of the season. Of course, they have a Porch there, right? They have the Green Monster. He could hit 40-something bombs again or more. And Boston will pay. So I think Bleacher Report says Boston. You still have, who plays first for New York? Anybody and everybody? Ben Rice, the Yankees. Ben
predominantly
Rice,
Ben Rice. Yeah,
right. Who mashes also, right, and is younger. So I don't know about New York there. I think Boston's probably a safe bet.
So you're not going to like the answer that I have for this one. All right. So the Mets are, in my opinion, out. He's the one that opted out of that contract. It wasn't the Mets. The Mets said it was a mutual option. Mets said yes. He said no. So I think he's gone. He's done with New York. I think he's going to the Texas Rangers, unfortunately. I think that he's going to end up going there, and he's going to end up hitting bombs, whether they use him at first base or a DH. The Rangers right now are looking to add some firepower, especially after they went from, trying to chase getting into another World Series. Even trying to win the division. But, they had a down year offensively. I think the Rangers are probably looking at trying to get Pete Alonso. Even
with them just moving to Dulles and Simeon? It seems like they're shedding.
Well, Simeon was getting a little bit older, and I think Adolis he had that one good season,
He
and
ran out
then
of
after
steroids.
that, yeah, exactly, he ran out of steroids. So, yeah, I think they're going to try to add some firepower, whether it's
Okay.
Alonzo or who else. So,
All right.
speaking of more firepower, let's go to number 3 from the
Yeah.
Philadelphia Phillies. Kyle Schwarber, their DH. You want to talk about a guy that can hit some bombs. He's not going to get a lot of contact, hitting 240 last season, but 56 home runs, 132 RBIs in a 4-point WAR, all at the DH position. He is
Mm-hmm.
age 33, and he's looking for 4 years and 135 million. Where do you see him going?
They have him staying with the Phillies. I think that's probably a safe bet. I mean, he's been a catalyst for that team for several years. I mean, the only other team, like he's already played for the Cubs. I don't think the Cubs would bring him back. How old is he going to be? 33, right? I think the
Yep.
Cubs are out. What other teams are they staying in there for him? Not much.
I didn't get
Red
to the end of it
Sox.
to actually look.
Red Sox. It's the usual suspects, right? The ball clubs with the funds to throw around. I just think he stays in Philly. They've got a pretty decent squad. I know they are talking about possibly moving Stott, which is I think their second baseman, and who's the third baseman? The tall guy.
Oh,
Anyways, I can see his face. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're talking about moving those two guys potentially, right? I think he's a mainstay there in Philly, so I'll stick with Philly.
I agree. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't extend him either before the season started or mid-season because he fit in really well there. If for whatever reason Philly can't get it done, I see the Yankees going and trying to get him once again to add to more firepower that they need in their lineup. So those are my two spots for Schwarber.
Yeah.
All right,
Bohm.
moving on.
Bohm is the third baseman.
There you go. Bohm. Thank you very much.
Don't know his first name, but his last name is Bohm. All right.
Alex Bohm.
Alex
All
Bohm,
right.
there you go.
Number 2, which this one was a surprise. He's even a free agent. Bo Bichette from the Blue Jays hit 311 last season, 18 home runs, 94 RBI, 3.8 WAR. He's only 28 years old. He's looking for 7 years, 210, which I guess if you can't sign Vlad and Bo for that much money, but who knows what the Blue Jays have got. More importantly, PK, who do you got for Bo Bichette?
Well, so I'm going to go back and look. So that Ranger Suarez is 4 years at 110 and they predicted him to go to the Blue Jays. So you're looking at 110, and how much for Bichette? 250.
He wants 7 years, 210 is what the prediction is. So 30 a season.
I feel like he would go back, man. I feel like they would make a move for him to go back. I mean, he was about to lead the league, I think, in hits until he got hurt. I mean, the dude hit 311, right? 311, yeah, 311. And like he was half-assing it, and I say half-assing it as far as he was injured, right, during the World Series, and still mashed and still made defensive plays at second base, right? So I think he will stay with the Blue Jays. Their window is right now for them. They have a damn good chance, to run the thing back. So I feel like as long as they can get the money right, like that would be his first choice, was to go back to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I agree. This is another one I'm shocked that he didn't get an extension either preseason or midseason. I think the Blue Jays just ran out of time because they were focusing on getting Vlad signed so bad. But we'll see how that works out. If he doesn't go to the Blue Jays, and you're not going to like my answer again, look for the Seattle Mariners to sneak in there and give him an offer. I think that's another one because he can pretty much play second, third, or short. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see. All right, let's go with number 1, man.
Number 1, who I'm sure everybody has guessed, your favorite outfielder who hit 266 for the Cubs last season, 22 home runs, 73 ribbies, 4.5 WAR at age 29 next season, looking for 10 years, $360 million. Number 1 in your hearts, Kyle Tucker. Where's he going?
What's wild is that 3 of the top 10 free agents right now are former Astros. That's wild to me. It's wild, disgusting, however you want to look at it, right? I mean, it's crazy, but
I'll call it impressive.
I mean, it's impressive. It's all the things. It's all the things. It's going to be LA or New York, man. Like I think it'll be LA or New York. The Yankees or the Dodgers, right? I mean, it's Freddie Freeman. Who's out and right? Teoscar plays right for them, right? He had a down year. He had a down year for the Dodgers. Who played? And then you have Judge out and right for the Yankees. I don't really know who played left. I guess Bellinger did between there and center field, right?
And then they had Grisham playing center.
Yeah, Grisham, who accepted his or whatever his qualifying offer, so he's there. I think if they don't get Bellinger back, then they make a hard play for Tucker. Is what I think. That's what I think. But I think Tucker, it's LA. I think it's gonna be LA or the Yankees. I don't see him go back to Chicago at all. I think they got a taste of what we see during what we saw this last season with him. He was injured. I mean, he was mashing beginning of the season, got injured, but he is going to command. I actually think that 300 something million is actually a lot less than I thought he would be getting. Real honestly, I figured it'd be closer to what did Soto get? Like 500. Soto get 500?
Yeah, 500.
500 something. I thought it would be closer to 4 or more. I mean, 360 is not too far off, right? So if the Yankees don't go for Bellinger, I think they'll make a hard play for Tucker. If the Yankees take Bellinger, then I think the Dodgers take the lead on going for Tucker.
Yeah, I think this is a simple one. I think he goes to the Yankees, and he goes to the Yankees because of something that I thought you were going to mention. Soto ended up going to the Mets, and the Yankees were burned on that deal. They thought that they had him in the bag the entire time, especially after how much fun he had playing with Judge. So I think to make up for that, they're going to go real hard in the paint to try to get Kyle Tucker. But yeah, if he doesn't go to the Yankees, it's got to be a big market team. He's either going to New York, either New York team, Boston, LA, it's the teams that have money to spend. I think at that point, the Blue Jays will be out of money if they're going to be signing some of the other guys we've already talked about. So yeah, it's one of the New York teams, Boston, or you're going, back out to the Dodgers again, and then they'll start paying him his money right before he dies in like 2070 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was a lot of fun, dude. It was a good episode. Sorry we went a little bit longer. We went a lot longer, but I think we honestly could have gone even longer if I wasn't watching the clock the whole time. But look, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Thank y'all for hanging out for the whole 48 minutes, man. Off season is going to be fun. Yeah, all season's going to be fun as we get closer to the winter meetings and the hot stove. So make sure you check back in with us. We're going to try to keep you up to date as much as we can. Chris will be back with us on the next episode. We haven't really figured out what we're going to do for Thanksgiving, if we're going to go before. I don't know about after, because a lot of you Longhorn fans know, Friday night, it's the A&M Longhorn game. So, but just keep posted to Facebook and X. We'll let you know when our next episode is. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Have a fantastic week. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We will talk to you soon. This is the Juice Box Heroes. I'm PK. That's Browse. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and hook 'em on Friday.
That's right. Hook 'em, baby. Let's go. Ruin their perfect season.
That would be fantastic.